So I was living in Atlanta for about 10 years. 10 years I was living in Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta from Maryland. Um, I was leaving because I just needed to have a new like change of scenery, and I didn't really have, well, I have a lot of attachments in Maryland and DC, but I was just ready for like something new, and I've always wanted to live in Atlanta. So in 2015, I started online sex work, and I was doing webcamming mainly, and I was like, the relationship that I was in wasn't working, which we'll get into that in another video. It's like way too much to get into this video, but it wasn't working out, and I just like, well, choose, I'm just gonna leave. So I left. I left my apartment, moved all the way to Atlanta, and I was living in a room in Brookhaven. It was actually a really nice room. Like, it was like like an apartment inside of a house, so it was really nice. That was in 2015. That's also the year I started doing online sex work to support myself. So living in Atlanta was kind of like, I would say, like a growing up for me. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about boundaries. I learned just more like that I can, no matter where I am, I take me with me, and I'm resilient. Like, being there by yourself when you don't really know anyone, and just basically starting over and trying to make roots. It teaches you a lot about yourself and your perseverance and preservation, maybe. That's probably the best word. And that is what Atlanta taught me. Oh, but also Atlanta had a lot of its challenges. Like, it was just, I found myself not really being able to like keep a lot of connections. Like, either like I would have these really, really intense experiences and relationships with people, and then nothing. And then, or like, I would cut them off or they would cut me off. I had never experienced that kind of whiplash in my relationships with people until I moved to Atlanta. I blame astrocartography, honestly, because when you look on that, the lines for me in Atlanta are like trash. But Atlanta made me a stronger person. So it was about 2003, I just felt like extremely burnt out. I was really burnt out. I had realized that I had been giving a lot more than I was getting from people, and I was just extremely burnt out. And then the cost of living, like, I could not really like keep up. Like, I make amazing money, but I felt like a lot of that money was just going into paying for my car note, paying for my rent, paying for food, because I'm not gonna not go out to eat. I'm sorry. Like, I don't care about my last fucking dollar, excuse my language, but I'm not going to not go to a nice restaurant. Sorry. That's just not, I don't know. But 2023, I was extremely burnt out and super depressed. So I was like, I am going to move abroad. Like, I don't know when I'm going to move abroad, but I'm going to move abroad. And I don't know how I'm going to move abroad, but I'm going to move abroad. And I came across a channel. It's by Stephanie Perry, and it's called Exodus Summit. I think it was called Exodus Summit, but she also has a separate channel called Stephanie Perry. And she talked about moving. It's a black woman, talked about moving abroad, bouncing around, digital nomading, and And I was like, you know what? I might do some ish like this. And it wasn't until maybe 2 years later that I actually went and got the passport, stopped BSing, got the passport, and decided to move abroad. But there was also some other things that kind of led to me wanting to peace out of Atlanta. I was in a relationship with somebody who I cared about very much, and they just ghosted me, dude. And it was very sad. I was super sad. And then I had lost my nephew because my niece, she had abandoned him for like at my house for 2 months. So I took the steps to try to get custody of him. And honestly, the court system in Atlanta is a joke. Something like that would never happen up north. Like, You abandon your kid for like 30, 60 days. Like, you have to go back to court to get them. So I did all the processes to go to court and get all the paperwork. And all she had to do was go up there and just be like, hey, I want my kid back. And then she was able to get the kid back. And I was so sad because I had got used to having a little boy in my house, taking care of him, doing all the things. I was about to enroll him in school and everything. Like, I was ready to take on this responsibility, and then he was gone. And then I lost the relationship, which was, we had to talk about that in another another video because that was insane. So then I was just like, bro, what the F am I staying in Atlanta for? Like, I don't have any roots here. I don't have any attachments here. I should just roll out. So that's what I did. May 15th, I left Atlanta to move to Colombia. And that is where this part of my life starts. So why did I choose Colombia? So I got some notes here because I need to stay on track. And I had made a video just now and it was like 18 minutes long, but I realized I didn't talk about anything that was in my notes. So why Colombia? So before I moved to Colombia, when my heart was broken, I did a lot of research on Colombia, the infrastructure, and the people, the history, and I was like, and I did astrocartography because, girl, we were not moving on those same lines that we were doing in Atlanta. So that was that, and I was like, oh, my little astro chart for Medellín, Colombia is hitting, honey. So I was like, okay, we're gonna go there. We're gonna book a flight. We're gonna get out. I wanted to be somewhere where the infrastructure was good, like where I don't want to live nowhere where I can't drink the damn water. That is the thing for me. This is why I didn't go to Mexico, child, because I don't want to be nowhere where I can't drink no water. But I'm not saying that I'm never gonna go to Mexico, but I don't. So I went to Medellín. I got there May 14th, 15th. And my first Airbnb was a fucking mess. It was in El Poblado, but the area of El Poblado, it was noisy. The pollution was crazy. I would literally blow my nose and there'd be black soot in my tissue. And I could, like, they didn't have no air conditioner in there, child. It was a really nice building and a nice little apartment though, and had like all the little things that were close by. But I did not like staying there. And I was so happy. I only was there for a month. And I was so happy when I moved to Laureles, which I really, really love Laureles. Like, I love Laureles. I love Laureles and I love El Poblado. But that area in El Poblado was a no for me. So, moved to Laureles. And it was a little studio apartment, and it was better than being in that area. Also, the thing about El Poblado is the hills, girl. Like, there's hella hills. Like, unless you like walking up hills every day, then you can go be there. But one thing about El Poblado, you can be walking up a hill, child. Okay, and I did not like that. So Laureles is more flat. And that was for me. And the area in Laureles that I was in was so nice. So many cafes, so many restaurants. It was like, yes, this is where I need to be. Everything was walkable. Most places are walkable in Medellín. But in Laureles, where I was staying, girl, I loved it. I was at a different restaurant every day. I was having the time. The grocery store, I could go there if I had a last minute one, like a little one of spaghetti, just walk up to the Day Uno, which is D1, walk up to the Day Uno and go get me my little dinner for the night. So that was really nice. I enjoyed that. So that was why I chose Colombia. So what did people think when I decided to go to Medellín and tell people that I was moving to Colombia? My girl Carter was super supportive. A lot of my friends were like, cool, yeah, so cool, da, 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 my family. But the only person who had an issue was the only person I really had something to say was my mama, and her opinion really don't matter to me because we don't have a relationship. And I'm like, not you trying to be somebody's mama now. But that was really it. And I don't really care about what people's opinions are when it comes to something that I want to do. I'm gonna do what I want to do anyway. So I booked my ticket and I got the phone. Okay, rolled out. So that was that. So I didn't really get a lot of pushback from anybody. When I would go out, when I spent my last days in Atlanta on the Beltline, and I would always go to, what's this place called? What is that place called? I love that place. It's a little taco place, but it's right there on the Beltline. And when I would go there and go get my little sours, I love a sour. And I would tell people, mostly the Caucasians, they would be like, oh my goodness, why are you going to Colombia? It's so unsafe. Girl, then gonna tell me that she loved going to Israel. Child, okay. So, yeah, but I didn't really get a lot of pushback from people. Because first of all, I just be doing it, and I don't be telling a lot of people my business either. But I told you about the people who had a problem. And those are people who I just don't give a FUCK about their opinion. So yeah, I did what I wanted to do and got the deuce. So the things that surprised me when I got to Colombia was like how everything is freaking walkable, how affordable everything is. Like I expected things to be affordable, but I didn't expect things to be like that type of affordable. Like America, count your fucking days. Count your days, because when I went to the store and I had got me some oxtail, and it was $15.99 a pound, and I was able to get 6 pounds of oxtail for maybe $20. You won't be seeing me again. That was it. I broke up with America that day because the oxtail was affordable. It was cheap, child. And I was having oxtail. I was having all kind of soups and everything. And I was like, this is the life. What else was surprising? Just the people. Like the Colombian people are really an amazing group of people. Like I have had nothing but well, except for that one time when me and my friends went out, and this girl, like, she was, charged my card about $160 something, girl, and I went and got that charge back, because, girl, that was my one bad experience. I had a second bad experience. I ran into 2 scammers. One at the airport and one at that club, but that was it. Other than that, the Colombian people are really warm people, like, kind, and I have had nothing but great interactions with them. What else? Because it's in my notes, girl. The fact that everything you think you're gonna be missing in America, you can just get it here. But anything that you think that you are gonna want to get or you're gonna miss, you can get that in Colombia. It's gonna be by a different name. But if you want a McDonald's, they got a McDonald's here, babe. You want a Burger King, they got a Burger King here. If you like Popeyes, they got a Frisbee's here, which is better than the Popeyes, babe. So that surprised me. So, and any time I needed to like replace equipment or anything, like my tripod broke, and I was able to just buy another tripod. If I wanted to buy a new light, I can get a new light. Medellín has everything you need. Okay, so what was better than expected moving here? So what was better than expected was literally my quality of life. My quality of life went up. Like I said, the inflammation in my body, didn't have any inflammation in my body anymore. Didn't have, to worry about money all the time. And I was just able to rest like I needed to rest without feeling guilty about resting. I think that, that was the main thing that was better than expected is not being in chronic pain all the time. I was in chronic pain all the time. Like I would work out in Atlanta like every day, like at least 5 times a week, because that was the only way to manage my pain. And I would get massages. I would have people come to the house and give me massages, and it still was just chronic. But I didn't change anything coming here. I didn't change anything. The only thing that changed was the location. So if you're thinking about moving abroad, I'm not saying like to do it just because, like, but like there are some benefits to moving abroad, and it may be that you won't be in pain every day. So fast forward to me meeting my child's father and becoming pregnant. So it was Father's Day, and I decided to go to the museum because I love going to museums. I love museums. So I went to the museum by myself. I be doing solo. I'm a solo girl. Like you, I don't be waiting on people. So I went to the Art Museum of Antioquia, or the Museum of Antioquia, I believe it's called. I always get it wrong, my child. But I went there, and it was Father's Day, and after seeing the whole museum, the museum was really nice. I actually liked that museum. I decided that I didn't want to go back to my Airbnb. So instead of going back to my Airbnb, I walked over to some tables where they were serving beer, and I was approached by one of the locals. Her name is Sophia, and we started a conversation, obviously through the phone, through Google Translate, because I can only speak poquito in Espanol at this time. And we hung out most of the day, all day, actually until the nighttime. And her ex at the time was and still is good friends with my child's father. And that night, me and my child's father, we danced, and then from there he was my boyfriend, and we dated very quickly. Things started going really fast, and that's how I don't know. I probably should stop doing that, moving on fast with the people. But I ain't never had gotten pregnant from nothing like that, because I've always been on the control of the birth. Child. So that's how that happened. So we were dating, and we were boyfriend and girlfriend from then. And gonna move on to the part where I got pregnant. So it was October 4th when I conceived. Mind you, obviously I didn't know that I conceived on October 4th because your girl was still out there. I was out there having a good time, child, still doing my thing. And that night though, like when he came inside me, child, I took the plan B super fast, but it didn't work. I know that if I was in America, that plan B would have worked. I don't know what kind of plan B they got out here in Colombia. But it wasn't until November 2nd that I found out that I was pregnant. The night before, me and my girl, Marcy, we went out. And we went out to this nice club where they do the Afro beats and dressed up in our Halloween's best. I was Chucky. She was, what's the little jump from off of Toy Story? The cowgirl. Jessie. She was Jessie. I was Chucky. And we had a ball, honey. And that night I only had one beer and one pina colada, and I was so tired. I was tired as hell that that night. So we did our thing, have fun. I was like, girl, I'm so tired. I need to go home. She was like, okay, let's go home. So I went home, and then the next day I felt like complete cow manure. Like I felt like I got hit by a truck. And that is just not what be happening to me, because I have been drinking the whole time. And you know what's crazy? I was drinking so much out here. I didn't even have I never had a hangover. When I was drinking in Atlanta, I would wake up the next day with a hangover. Had to drink some pickle juice. I ain't had to do that when I was out here. But I was like, when I woke up the next day and had the hangover, girl, I was like, this don't feel right. And I was having period symptoms. Like I was having the cramps like I always do. So I didn't think nothing about it, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take a pregnancy test because I'm gonna rule that out. And I just knew for sure that I wasn't in the pregnancy. And girl, it was when I looked at that test and it said that damn double line, I said, I know you fucking lying. I said, I know you lying. I know you lying. The first person I called was my sister Nakia. And she was like, girl, I know you lying. Because I'm the last one of my sisters to have a baby. Like, I waited till I was 33 years old, and moved out the country and got pregnant. Ain't been pregnant my whole life. Well, I've had some chemical pregnancies and some like, other things that happen, but like never like a full, like a in utero child. And then it was my last month in being in Colombia too, because mind you, I applied for my digital nomad visa about 4 or 5 times. They kept denying me, and I was like, F y'all, fuck y'all, I ain't gonna apply for this shit no more. We're going to just do something else. We're gonna get another type of visa. But it was my last month, and I was already about to be just done with him because he was getting on my nerves, and I ain't want to deal with him no more. Girl, then find out you're pregnant. That was crazy. I ended up having a conversation with him, and we had talked about it. And I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. I wasn't sure if I was going to keep the baby, and I wasn't sure if I was going to abort the baby. Mind you, when I found out, the day that I had found out, took that test, I had scheduled me an abortion with the Plan B people. Because I wanted to have my options open. I wanted to be like, if we don't know what we're going to do, but we gonna hurry up on this. Because, in the United States, y'all ain't got no coochie rights. So I wanted to make sure that I was lining up my ducks in a row. And I got back to the States around November 11th, and I went to my sister's wedding. Beautiful wedding, by the way. And I canceled my original appointment because I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to abort. And it's not ideal. I don't want to hear nobody in the conversation be like, you didn't even know him. You should have got... It ain't about him. So then around November 21st, I went and got my first ultrasound, saw the baby, and I was just like, I'm gonna keep the baby. I want to keep the baby. But then I also, after that, I scheduled another abortion, and I was like, I'm gonna go back to DC, and we gonna get the abortion. We're gonna abort it. And canceled that one. Didn't happen. So then I just was like, I'm just gonna keep the baby. And I'm gonna keep the baby, and I am going to become a mom. Pregnancy has been pretty easy and affordable because I've been having most of my care outside of the country. So that's where I'm at right now. And I will be having my baby here in Colombia. I have my own OBGYN. So that is something that I'll probably talk about in my next video for girls who are traveling abroad and maybe want this information. But I chose my own OBGYN. Now that was about like $1,600 for my own OBGYN, and she speaks English, and she's a humanized doctor. And a humanized doctor means like someone who actually gives a F-U-C-K about the mother and ain't trying to cut her open and ain't trying to do all this stuff, moves at her pace and whatnot. So yeah. I was gonna have a doula, but that was gonna put me over the budget, child. My budget is $3K for the child, okay? And right now we at 2.6K for the whole birth. That's how much it's gonna cost me to have a baby here. As far as my anxieties, do I have any anxieties about giving birth? It's gonna hurt. And I don't even think about that. I know it's gonna hurt, and I'm not even worried about it no more. I told my OBGYN, I was like, girl, just shoot me up with the medicine. I don't even care what. As soon as I get to the hospital, we go together. Like, you better put that needle in my back. I'm not even worried about none of that. So I'm definitely gonna be medicated. But my only anxieties that I really have is going to Bogota to get the documents after the baby's born, after I do my little healing for like a few weeks. And postpartum. Like I like the postpartum and the postpartum depression part. Like that's what I'm really worried about. But I'm gonna put some things in place so that it's not as hard for me, like hiring a nanny. Like, come help with the baby. I'm tired. Child, we don't know what's gonna happen. I'm just hoping that the baby, we don't have no complications during the birth. That I don't die. Because I've been thinking about that. Like, okay, that is one thing I've learned. Like, what if I die? But I don't think I'm gonna die. But it is a risk. But my pregnancy has been pretty easy. It hasn't been really complicated. It's been really good. So I don't think we'll have a lot of issues. But really just what comes next. I'm excited to be a mom. I'm excited to start this new part of my life, this new journey. I know what country comes next, okay? We are going to be in a country where I can be by a beach with me and the newborn on the arm or on the chest. That's where I plan on being. And then maybe we'll head back to the U.S. for the holidays. I don't know. I don't really. But, yeah, like that's really a summary of how all of this has changed my life, girl. It's changed my life. My life is completely on a different track. And who would have known that from last year to this year that I would be a mom? And I was already, and what was crazy is I was about to be, so like I put myself in a position to be my nephew's mom. And I was going to just like, take care of him. And now I'm going to have my own little baby. So something that's mine. So I'm excited about that. And really just, I always wanted to have a baby for me without no baby daddy. So like, honestly, if him and I don't work out, I'm not even tripping. I'm good. Like, I'm happy to have my babies. There were some times where I was like, girl, we should have got that schmishmortion from the schmishmortion clinic. But when I feel him kicking, when I go by the little clothes and stuff for him, and when I watch stuff about motherhood, and I think about how I've always wanted to be a mom. I just was kind of scared to be a mom because of how I grew up. But like, I'm excited, and I think that it's going to change things in my life, maybe for the better. At first, having a newborn is probably going to be really intense, but he's not going to be a newborn forever. So that's my story, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to put the links where you can follow me. And yeah, like, that's my little story. That's how my life changed in a year. And in about 4 to 5 weeks, or whenever Elias is ready, I will be a mom. And I'm going to talk about that too. So, ciao.